All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for taking the time out to join us. We know it's a little bit early there on the West Coast. I think most of our participants are from the West Coast. The program we're going to go through today should take about 30-45 minutes at the max. So again, if for some reason you do need to jump off, we understand. Also, all of the presentation will be recorded and will be distributed out to the individuals on the call and also those individuals who registered for the webinar. So today we're joined by myself, Sean McCoy. I'm the National Business Development Director and the owner of Federal Employee Benefits Advocates. We also have Nick Woodward, who is our Senior Online Strategist. And then we're also joined by David Kramer, who's our Senior Business Development Director for the Western Division. David is the go-to guy for the West Coast, and he would be the person who would be working with any of the participants after the webinar. So I guess you're on the call because you're looking for an opportunity, and particularly in this case, undiscovered niche market with lots of opportunity. First question I usually get from folks is, why do you want to work with federal employees? Well, first off, the federal workforce is aging. Nearly 39% of the federal workforce is 50 years or older, as compared to only about 24% in the private sector. The average federal employee is about 47 years of age with about 16.3 years of service. And according to the Office of Personnel Management, 1 out of every 3 federal employees will be eligible to retire beginning in 2018. So you're talking of the 2.7 million federal employees, that's around 776,000 people who are eligible. That doesn't mean they're going to retire, but certainly the eligibility exists. The other common misnomer with federal employees is that they're not well paid. Well, that's actually not true. Federal employees are very competitively paid because they must compete with the private sector. And so in that case, the average federal salary is about $77,000, and you have some of the federal employees who can make upwards of 6+ figures. The other common misnomer is that all the federal employees are around the DC area. Well, that's not true. Approximately 85% of those employees work outside of the federal government, with the California, Texas, and Virginia, Maryland, Florida, New York, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Ohio having the largest population of federal employees. So when you're talking about working with federal employees, some of the questions that come to mind are, how can I help the federal employees? And of course, at the same time, how does that help me in growing my business? Well, there are basically 7 opportunities that you have to assist federal employees. And those areas come in the areas of risk management as well as in the area of their pensions. And so what we'll do now is we'll go through those various opportunities. So the first one is pension maximization or pension income alternative. The federal government has 2 retirement systems, an old system that was created in 1920 and closed out at the end of 1983. That's known as the CSRS system. They have a very lucrative pension system in that they could retire with as much as 80% of their high 3 average. They also have the new system, which is anyone that was hired after 1984, and that system allows them to retire with also a very substantial amount of benefits. So they all have survivor benefit options that they must choose. And what you see here is that a lot of times they're not sure what's the appropriate choice. And this is where the opportunity may come in if it's suitable and they understand what goes on to maybe look at life insurance as a way to provide that survivor benefit option. The next opportunity also comes in the area of risk management. And this comes in a situation where the new employees, those employees hired after 1984, if they have less than 10 years of service, they don't have a pension, and most of them don't realize that. And so this is a way to provide some protection for them that can provide them some coverage for their family until they get a pension. That way it assures that they're going to have enough resources if the federal employee does pass away. The other thing they have to take into consideration is if they die without a pension and there's no survivor benefit coming to a household in the form of a spousal or a minor benefit, then they lose the health insurance at the employee rate and have to go effectively to a COBRA rate. And that would involve a life insurance type policy. The other type of opportunity comes with another retirement, and that has to do with their thrift savings plan. They have a retirement 401k type plan that's a thrift plan. It gets a matching for the new employees. And oftentimes there are a lot of decisions that need to be made about whether they are investing enough and investing enough accurately. The Thrift Savings Plan is the largest pension plan in the world with $365 billion. That's a lot of money. But the challenge is that almost 40% of that money is in the fixed account. And as we all know, that may not be sufficient to keep pace with inflation. So they need assistance during the time that they're working to make sure that they are adequately investing the correct amount and having their assets properly allocated. And then when it comes to retirement, they also need to look at different retirement distribution options. Their current options, while some of those will be changing, are very limited in their ability to access the money. The fourth opportunity comes in again with another pension type benefit. This is what's known as the voluntary contribution program. This is an archaic defined contribution plan that was put in place many, many years before the Thrift Savings Plan. And this plan is only available to those individuals covered under the old system, the CSRS, those hired prior to 1984. Now, in this particular case, because of a change in the tax law in 2008, what it allows them to do is to put up to 10% of everything they've earned on an after-tax basis, and through using this conduit of the VCP allows them to put that money into a Roth. So what they're doing is avoiding the contribution limits that normally are in place for contributing to a Roth, as well as the income limit. So for the right client, this can be an absolute windfall for them, taking non-qualified money and putting it into the Roth, thereby, if the money stays there for 5 years or 59 and a half, whichever is longer, the earnings come out tax-free. Now, to wet your whistle a little bit on the TSP program has provided some information that's garnered through various sources. And in this particular case, this shows you a breakdown of some of the TSP balances. As you can see, there's almost 9,600 people within the federal government that are millionaires. And you can see that the sweet spot in that comes in the neighborhood of the 250 to 750,000 that's available. And so again, that just gives you an idea of the potential assets that are available. The other area and the final three areas come in the area of risk management. The first is the Federal Employee Group Life Insurance. This is the largest life insurance program in the world with over 4 million participants. They have essentially several different options. The challenge comes into play is that when they get ready to retire, they can keep a certain amount of their life insurance in place, but what happens is some of their optional coverages, what's known as option B coverage, when they get into their 50s, the cost of that insurance starts to go up exponentially. And oftentimes, you're able to provide an alternative for those individuals. And particularly if you can catch them early enough in their career, you may be able to provide them a substantial amount of insurance, but also you may find that you're able to save them money over the duration of the insurance policy, because oftentimes if someone is under that FEGLI for an extended period of time through their career and then after they retire, they can oftentimes pay more into the system than they would have received in terms of a death benefit. The next area comes in their disability. They don't have a true disability plan that you would typically see in an ERISA-based program. Their disability coverage is a disability retirement. And the way that the program works is the first year, they get 60% of their income offset by 100% of anything they would receive from Social Security. The challenge comes in is that in the second year and all the way up to age 62, they get 40% offset by 60% of Social Security. So that can be quite devastating to the federal employees if for some reason they do go out on disability. So the alternative would be to look at some type of disability type of protection, or possibly a life insurance policy that had a disability type of living benefit rider. The final area is an area that's not just germane to federal employees, but it's long-term care. The statistics are 1 out of every 3 Americans will need long-term care in some form or fashion, 1 out of every 2 men, 1 out of every 3 women. So the need for long-term care is there. Now, the federal government does offer them a federal long-term care insurance program. The challenge is that oftentimes it's not competitive, particularly if you're looking at insuring both a husband and a wife. The other scenario that comes into play is that it is a limited pool of money, and oftentimes in the private sector, you can get more competitive plans for them, or, as is the case with the disability coverage, being able to offer them some type of living benefit rider. So those are essentially the opportunities that you have to work with federal employees in terms of providing them some level of assistance. So at this point, you probably would be asking yourself two questions. One, what's the best way to find new prospects and turn them into clients? And number two, how can I get the professional knowledge that I'll need to work with feds? Well, at Federal Employee Benefits Advocates, we actually have a couple of programs that we can assist you with. The first is the FedEd Advisor Training Program. This is designed to help you as an advisor and provide you with the knowledge, the tools, and the support that you need to work with federal employees. The challenge with federal employees is that most folks are familiar with ERISA-based plans, and federal employees do not fall under ERISA, so they have a very specific set of rules and regulations that must be followed, and in some cases, they're quite different than what you see in the private sector with ERISA-based plans. The other way we can help you is through Federal Employee Benefits Advocate Seminars programs, or FEBA seminars. These are educational seminars that are designed to help you educate federal employees and to build a relationship with them and to help them take care of those needs that we discussed earlier. So let's talk a little bit about the FedEd program. The FedEd program is designed to be a 2-day hands-on class. Now, one of the questions that we get, quite frankly, is, can I do this via webinar, or can you just do self-study? Well, I've been in the financial services industry for over 30 years, and I've been in this space for about 10 years. And my experience has been is that to try to deliver this type of program with the depth that you need to really be proficient, it's just not suitable to do in those two fashions of webinars or self-study. So the way the program works is, to begin with, you receive a pre-study guide. Now, this pre-study guide gives you cursory information that you'll need when you come to the class. Much the same way as if you took a prep class, say for your insurance license or securities license, they generally will send you a study guide in advance so that when you come to the class, you're ready and able and prepared for the materials that'll be covered. The other thing that happens is when you come to the class, you actually get a classroom workbook. Now, this classroom workbook is, in fact, a workbook that has a copy of all the slides that we'll go over with in the class, and also exercises to help drill for skill, if you will, to make sure that you understand the various concepts that are being taught, as well as the fact that in some cases, you may actually need to do these calculations on the fly. And so in addition to that, this also becomes a valuable resource tool for you to reference back in addition to the study guide. Then what I consider the crowning point of the class is the classroom workbook for marketing. And so in this particular program, what we teach you to do, we created a proprietary system called Identify, Locate, and Communicate, where we teach you how to identify the opportunities that are available within your geographic area down to a county level. We can even, in some cases, help you be able to find employees directly, how much those employees make, where they work, and in some cases, phone numbers, and oftentimes email addresses. Now, again, what we're actually teaching you how to do is to build your own organic list. So the way that I like people to look at this is to think about this as kind of like a bait and tackle shop. That's what FEBA is. So we teach you, where the fish are, how to find the fish, but we don't, and we're not in the business of providing the fish for you. So we're not in the business of setting up seminars for you. But what we do is we teach you how to prospect directly to federal employees at their place of business, or in some cases, even at their home addresses. We teach you how to prospect to federal agencies so that you can contact federal agencies and talk to them about setting up on-site benefit seminars, as they refer to them, benefit briefings. We also teach you how to become an approved federal contractor so that you do have the wherewithal to be able to go in and approach these federal agencies as an approved contractor. And then the combination of those two would be some type of program that maybe you might offer off-site from a federal facility. And oftentimes that's the way that you have to get started, because sometimes there's a reluctance of the federal employees to meet with you individually or to the agency to allow you to come to the facility, because their concern is that you're going to come on federal property and attempt to sell to them. And so sometimes you have to do something off-site, get the folks to see the programs that you're offering, and then take those back to their points of contact and to allow you to get back into a federal agency. In addition to that, Federal Employee Benefits Advocates also provides marketing material that can come in the form of a flyer, which you will receive if you come to the class, that you can use to prospect to the federal agencies. Also, we have additional materials, in this case, what would be a a magazine style piece that you can sit down with a point of contact to go over that information. Now, for those of you that may be affiliated with a broker dealer or maybe registered investment advisors, we can work with your compliance departments to make sure that that material gets approved well in advance of the class. In addition to that, we also have a series of different postcards that address the various ways directly to federal employees, directly to federal agencies, and then the combination of doing something on an off-site basis. These are all available through our online store, and they're cost available. Now, we do not provide you the lists in order to do these postcards. You must provide the list to us, and we can, depending on the size of the order, we can simply print the cards, or if an order is large enough, we can also print it and provide the postage as well. And again, those would be items that we could talk about offline. The other portion of our program that we offer that again makes us different is that we also provide you with a software program from a group called Ready Retire Solutions. They have a specific federal calculator that's designed to help you do the analysis on the benefits for federal employees. We don't go over this software in the class. We do a separate training. As a matter of fact, I was just conversing with the owner of the software program, and we're going to start doing a series of online webinars to help you be more competent and capable of how to use the software. Now, this software has a street value of around $600, and so we build this into the cost of our program. So you get the software as a part of coming to the class for 1 year at no additional cost. After that, it's up to you as to whether you want to choose to renew it. A final feature that we also provide to you is what's called a digital resource library. This is essentially a plethora of forms and pamphlets and things that you'll need in working with federal employees. It's also designed to be additional resource material so that if you want to do a deeper dive, say to find out something somewhat esoteric about the FEGLI, or a specific question that may not have been covered in the training, this is designed to be a support mechanism for you. So in essence, it's designed to help you shorten your learning curve about the federal employees and provide you forms that may take you 3, 4, 5, 6 months that you might need them at some point or try to find them. And so we've done that work to try to help you, again, shorten that learning curve. Also, after the class is over with, you do have the opportunity to take an online exam. Now, our program is not a certification, but you will get a certificate of completion that actually comes framed. Probably a lot of you have gone to classes, you get certificates, they come in a little envelope or something, and next thing you know, they're sitting in your drawer, they're up on the bookshelf, they never get displayed. And so what we've done to kind of mitigate that is we provide you a framed certificate if you successfully complete the test. 75 questions, you have 2 hours to complete. And within the workbook that you will receive when you come to class, it has an example of the exercises that you would see on the exam. So the FedEd Advisor Training Program is a comprehensive program that gives you the tools, the knowledge, and support that you need to work with the federal employees, starting with the pre-study guide, then continuing with the classroom workbook, the marketing workbook, the software from Ready Retire Solutions, as well as the online exam, and of course the digital resource guide. Now the cost for this program is $16.95 per person, and unfortunately, because of the margins on this particular program, we do not discount this program. The other question that comes up quite frequently is, so Sean, what's in it for you? What's in it for your firm? Well, first off, we're not an IMO, an FMO, or any other type of marketing organization that's going to be interested in taking any of your commissions. We're strictly an educational organization, and we derive our income from the programs that we offer to financial advisors, as well as programs we do offer directly to the federal government. So at this time, Nick, let's open it up for questions, and let's see who would have the first question.
Sounds good. I don't think we have any chat questions, but we'll check real quick. Yeah. So if anybody does have questions, just go ahead and shout them out. And I think with no questions at this time, Sean, you should just go ahead and keep going.
Okay, that sounds good, Nick. So the next part of our program is the Federal Employee Benefits Advocate Seminars, or FEBA seminars. These are designed to be seminars to help you build a relationship with federal employees. Now, one of the things that I will tell people when they are preparing to look at this market is, I call it the 3 C's, the 3 C's that you need to be prepared to enter the federal market. The first C is the commitment to be a scholar of the benefits. This is not something that you can just fake. You can't take your knowledge that you have from ERISA programs and anticipate and expect that that's going to be right for federal employees, because oftentimes you'll be wrong, and in some cases it can be quite damaging to the federal employee. The second C is the commitment of the resource of time. And in order to develop this market, this is one that is going to take a little bit of time. The average time that it takes myself and David, when we try to set up benefit seminars with the federal government for our existing client base of federal employees, typically we'll look at somewhere between a 60 to 90 to 180 day period. And also the federal government works off of a cycle, a fiscal cycle, that could be quite different. And some of the things that can adversely affect them is what we've all been experienced with the last couple of weeks, is the shutdown. And this is really the time that they can use your assistance. But again, you have to be committed to build those relationships over time. The final C is a commitment of the financial resources that you need. And in order to get into this market, I truly believe you've got to be willing to invest in the training, as well in some cases be willing to invest in the seminars if that's the route that you choose to go. So we'll talk about the FEBA seminars and how they work and how they operate. Now, the FEBA seminars are a complete package that allow you to present benefit briefings to federal employees. These programs were designed with giving you the ability to provide both full and half-day briefings for both the old and the new system. Also, these briefings are set up so that you can do modules. So, for example, if you want to go in with an organization and talk about the FEGLI, the way that the programs are set up is they can be offered in a modularized type fashion. In addition to that, we also have full and half-day what are called financial literacy briefings. These are essentially generic financial literacy programs that could be used with anyone in the country. These are typically offered in addition to the benefit briefings because they cover some things that are not part of the normal benefit briefings. Now, these seminar packages are licensed seminar packages, which means these are single license users. And what it allows you to do is to use the seminars unlimited for a period of 12 months. There are requirements that you must follow and adhere to, and one of those is all the materials that you would use for the class have to be purchased through the Federal Employee Benefits Advocates website. The final type of seminar that we offer is our newest seminar, and it's divorce and its effect on federal employees. If you're a financial advisor and you've had to deal with divorce, you can know that can be very challenging for both of the parties. Well, you take that already complicated situation, you exacerbate it by the rules and regulations of federal employees, which are quite different. So in essence, this is a program that can give you a niche within a niche and allow you to work with those federal employees who are going through a divorce to help them to understand, and at the same time, help them in some of the areas that they may need assistance with products and services that you may offer them. So this program is designed, these workbooks are professionally created, and they are set up in a coil-bound hard card stock on the cover. The interior is not done in a color, it's actually done black and white. But what it does allow them to do is become a resource for the attendees at the class. And so it provides you with professional materials to support each of the seminar programs as well as the modules. This is an example of some of the slides that are set up within the program. And again, we'll illustrate or emphasize the fact that this is not color in the materials that the participants receive. It's black and white. But what it's done is it's designed to be set up in a very eye-catching format that allows them to not only read the slide, as opposed to some of the programs you may see where they put 4 or 5 or 6 slides per page that people can't read them, but it also provides them an opportunity to take notes. And in some cases, some of the concepts that may be a little bit difficult to understand, taking a lot of time to put the graphical content together to help them to understand those complex concepts. Another program that we offer that is one of the defining points within our program that differentiates us from anyone else in this space is what's called the benefits worksheet. The benefits worksheet is designed to be used during the full day sessions, and what it does is it allows the participants to be able to look at their benefits oftentimes holistically. what you'll find is that the federal employees oftentimes will focus on those benefits myopically. And so what this benefit sheet does is it really accomplishes three things. The first thing that it does is it gives them a chance to look at the benefits holistically. The second thing that it does is it allows them to take this information home and share it with their spouse, their family, or a significant other. The third thing that it does is it allows you as a financial advisor, when they come in, the opportunity to figure out what's their most important item that they're interested in and what they need the assistance with after the seminar. So in some cases, it can actually act as a basic fact find. The other thing that we also provide, if you license the seminar material, is an invitation. This is set up as a form fillable PDF file that can be sent out to the point of contacts or could be sent out to individual federal employees to invite them to the various briefings. One of the other things that we can do to help enhance your relationship is what's called a summary report. So this again is a form fillable PDF file that allows you that at the conclusion of the class to provide a report back to the point of contact so that they can be ensured that you did provide them what you said you were going to be able to gather the feedback from the participants, and also to be able to use as a possible way to get referrals to do additional seminars with that organization or any other organization that they may be affiliated with. So again, this is designed to be a comprehensive, holistic type of program, and this also meets the requirements for the federal agencies to monitor any training that they offer and keep records associated with that. This is just an example of financial literacy materials that we offer. And as I mentioned earlier, this could literally be offered to anyone in the country. Oftentimes you'll offer a seminar and spouses will attend, and those spouses may not be federal employee spouses. So this is good for them because it helps them to better understand some of the programs that they may have outside of the federal government. This is an example of the divorce programs that we offer. And again, this is our newest program. This is a turnkey program that allows you to have the mail outs, kind of the pre and post checklist of what you want to do prior to the meeting. And again, this may be something that you're wanting to offer, maybe in conjunction with a law firm that you may be able to partner with, or in some cases, some people have discussed using this as a way to network with attorneys to potentially garner some additional federal benefit business. Also, you may find if you look in your area, I know there's a lot of folks in the East Coast that have attorneys that specialize in federal employee divorce. So again, the FEBA seminars is a complete package of information to help you present benefit briefings to the federal government. It comes in the form of the communications, the benefits training, the benefits worksheet, and the summary report. So again, this is a way to differentiate yourself by offering a solution to a problem that a lot of the federal agencies have, and do it in a comprehensive way. So those are the two programs that we offer. And so before we move in to take questions, I do want to talk about the pricing structure. So the way that the pricing structure is worked or operates for the seminar materials is there's an initial licensing fee of $2,500 for both the FERS as well as the CSRS, and then the financial literacy is $2,000. Now those have an annual renewal of $500 per program. If you are in an office or you are in a situation where you have more than one person who will be participating, then we can have an offline conversation about a potential site license and the do's and don'ts that would involve that. We also, on our online shop, we are also running some specials that if you do combinations, then we actually reduce the price on the programs. And so one of the things you'll also receive after this class will in fact be the opportunity to go on our shop online program for these programs. Now, we don't require you to come through the class in order to license the material, but I will tell you this, is if you have not been working with federal employees or you've not had some type of training, you would do yourself a disservice to order these materials and not having gone through that knowledge part of it. Now, in some cases, people may decide that they want to license the material, but they don't necessarily want to present it. Maybe they don't want to take the time to learn the material, or they may just not be good public speakers. So one of the other services that we allow is a speaking fee. So what that means is that you can contract with us, Federal Employee Benefits Advocates, and we'll send one of our professionally trained speakers out to do and conduct the briefing for you. Again, there's a cost associated with that. It's per the cost of our travel, and then also any cost of the book. So we bill the speaking fees in advance, and we bill you for the travel and the books in arrears. So that's our standard pricing model. The alternative pricing model is, let's suppose you don't want to license the material at all. That's fine. If you choose not to do that, then you can also engage with us by paying a speaking fee of $2,000 a day. The material is and the travel is billed in arrears. In this particular case, you do not obtain a copy of the slides on this program. And then, of course, any materials that are left over, we would take those with us when we depart. And so those are our two alternative pricing structures that we have, the basic pricing structure and the alternative. And so what I'd like to do at this time, Nick, is go ahead and open it up to see what questions, if any, that we might have from the group.
We do have a question about when the California event will be.
Well, that's a great lead-in question. The class is actually going to be March 26th and 27th. We're going to hold it at the LAX Hilton, which is there on West Century Boulevard. We do have a discount on the hotel rate if you use the code ZSV, and that gives you an opportunity to look at the facility. For those of you that may be in the area, you may want to just drive in every day. The class is typically run 8 to 5, which I know traffic in LA can be somewhat challenging, so it may be a situation you may just choose to stay overnight. But again, those would be the classes. We will cut off registration approximately 2 weeks in advance of the class. So if you are considering registering, we also have a maximum on the class of 20 people. So when we hit that, or we hit our registration closing, we will be closed until the next class.
Excellent. Any other questions from anybody? Just feel free to unmute yourselves and shout it out. Sean, I think that might be it for the day, if you want to wrap it up.
Okay, I thought I heard someone in the background. I was having a little bit of a trouble hearing them. But anyway, thanks everyone for participating on the calls. Again, we do offer comprehensive programs to financial advisors. We offer the tools, the knowledge, and support that you need to work with federal employees. And so if you do have questions, you can check out our website, FEBAadvocates.com, or you can call us at 720-432-3331, or you could also email questions to me at sean@FEBadvocates.com. Again, we do thank you for participating today. We will send out a follow-up email that'll have a copy of this recorded program, along with access to registering for the class, and also the information that will give you access to our online store so that you can look at the marketing materials and the other seminar materials we have available. Again, thank you, David and Nick, for participating on the call. And if there's no further questions, that will conclude our program. Thanks a lot.